It is an absolutely picture-perfect night for baseball in downtown Cincinnati. And we welcome you to Great American Ballpark, where the Reds continue this homestand with the first of 4 against the Arizona Diamondbacks from the National League West. And the Reds beginning play 6 games in front of St. Louis, and we're down to the final 19 games of the regular year. And hi again, everybody. Alongside Chris Welsh, I'm Tom Brenneman. Welcome to Reds Baseball on Fox Sports Ohio. And, well, Chris, here we go. I mean, we're down to the final 3 weeks of the year, and every day you're trying to notch a win and get that much closer to a divisional championship. But you have some guys a little beat up right now.
Well, this time of year, Tom, I don't think you'll find a ball club in baseball that doesn't have a roster full of guys that are beat up, nicks and bruises here and there. Arthur Rhodes, you know, he's had plantar fasciitis in his left heel all year long. In fact, he doesn't even want to put any weight on that left foot. Look at him limp to the dugout. He's really a warrior and a soldier to get out there the way he does. Orlando Cabrera, he's had a side injury, had a little leg injury the other day. You know, he's beat up pretty good. He's in there, but he's going to play tonight. He's in the lineup again tonight. Chris Heisey ran into the first baseman the other day. In addition to having an ankle problem, he's beat up a little bit there. He's got some bruises here and there. So the Reds are full of players all over the place. Scott Rowland, you know, he gets his regular day off, usually day games after night games, but still, at his age, at this time of the year, they're just trying to keep him healthy. One guy finally back is healthy, and that's Jay Bruce. He's missed, almost a couple of weeks, it seems like. But, boy, he was really hot right before he got injured. And if you look at the batting average, the home runs, the runs batted in, the Reds' offense has really scuffled in his absence. Hopefully he'll be able to swing the bat and pick up right where he left off.
Should be noted that Jay Bruce, when the original lineup came out tonight, was not in it. And he was in addition as we got closer and closer to game time tonight. One man we've known would be in there right from the get-go, Bronson Arroyo, going for win number 15 tonight. We'll talk more about him when we return.
descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Our telecast of Reds baseball tonight on Fox Sports Ohio is presented in beautiful high-definition television courtesy of H.H. Gregg. A picture-perfect night right now. What about the rest of the night? Let's check in with Michelle Boudelet.
Another picture-perfect night for a ball game out there. We're looking at temperatures around first pitch at around 84 degrees, 73 in clear skies by 9 o'clock. By the end of the game, falling into the upper 60s, so certainly a little bit cooler than where we start.
Michelle, thank you so much. Bronson Arroyo. How about these numbers, Chris?
Well, when you're talking about facing the best hitters in the opposing lineup, Bronson Arroyo is leading the league in that. The best hitters are 3, 4, and 5 in anybody's lineup. And Arroyo, Matt Latos, Gonzalez, and Jimenez, those are the 4 that you're talking about. But look at the batting average for Bronson Arroyo, the only one under 190. Now, a lot of that is because a lot of those 3, 4, and 5 hitters are right-handed. And because of that, he's able to get them pretty good. But we're going to see a lot of lefties tonight as Arizona's in town.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. By Ford F-Series trucks and best-selling trucks 33 straight years. By Just for Men, for mustache and beard, keep your edge. And by Skyline Chili. Whenever you're feeling good and hungry, it's Skyline time. Arizona Diamondbacks in town to take on the Reds in the first of 4 on this Monday night. Take a look at Kirk Gibson's starting lineup presented by Cincinnati Bell. Stephen Drew at short, Tony Abreu at third, Kelly Johnson having an outstanding year at second. Justin Upton in right, Miguel Montero the catcher, Ryan Church for Chris Young in center. Brandon Allen, Gerardo Parra, and Barry Enright, the latter third. And on the mound for the Reds, we mentioned looking for his 15th win is right-hander Bronson Arroyo.
Well, 15 wins for Bronson would match his career high, so you know it's a big number for him. He's been an Iron Man, a guy that simply doesn't miss a start, gives you 200, 220 innings every year. He mixes them up. I'm talking about his pitches. You really can't guess with Bronson Arroyo up there because he throws fastball, slider, cutter, changeup, sidearm on all those pitches, and he is very, very tough on righties. Tonight, Kirk Gibson running out a whole bunch of lefties in this Diamondback lineup.
Stephen Drew to lead it off, looks at ball 1, and this game is underway. You see the season numbers on Arroyo's. Lost his last 3 starts, which has taken his ERA from right around 3.5 to up over 4 for the first time in quite a while. Stephen Drew, 1 of 11 in his career against Arroyo. The one hit a home run. You mentioned Arroyo as an Iron Man. Boy, you're not lying. You go back, including this year, over the last 5 years, among all pitchers in Major League Baseball, only Roy Halladay, CC Sabathia, and Dan Herron have thrown more innings than Bronson Arroyo. Under the glove of Cabrera into center field, and Drew begins a game with a base hit. Take a look at the Reds on defense, presented by Ford. Told you Jay Bruce back in the lineup tonight out in right field to join Stubbs in center and Johnny out in left. Roland, Cabrera, Phillips, and Votto third to first. And hanging the signs for Arroyo tonight is Ryan Hannigan. Tony Abreu, another left-handed batter at .243 on the year with 8 runs batted in, playing in his 67th game. Looks at a strike. Well, how you doing tonight, big fella? Everything all right?
I'm doing very well. Missed a weekend of baseball you did. The Reds took 2 out of 3 against the Pirates while you're up there doing the Bears football. Had a good time in Chicago, I take it?
Very good time.
Good.
Very exciting game. Glad that football is underway, but very happy to be back with the Red Legs and sitting next to you in the booth here tonight.
Yeah, the Reds, of course, with a win tonight will guarantee themselves a winning season. For the first time in a decade, that's a pretty good milestone that they're looking for. And they'll also set the club mark for most wins at Great American Ballpark.
Well, we mentioned going into play tonight. Including tonight, 19 games remain, and the Reds have a 6-game lead over St. Louis in the National League Central Division. Certainly the schedule, not only with having the lead in the division, but the teams you're going to play. And Chris, you said it once, you've said it many, many times. Perceptibly so. You don't play the games on paper.
I'm sticking with that, too.
But having said that, Arizona, among the worst records in the league. The Reds have 6 games left against Houston, under 500. 6 games left against Milwaukee, under 500. And the only team with a winning record they'll play over the final 19 will be 3 in San Diego, the second to last week of the year. Runner goes, fouled out of play, 2-2 on Abreu.
Hit and run right there. He chased a bad pitch, had the runner in motion. I think Kirk Gibson realizes that one way you play against a pennant contending team, and he's anxious to do this with his D-back ball club, is that you try to be aggressive early on. You try to give your guys, young, inexperienced, rebuilding down there in Arizona, the feeling that they can hang with the Reds. And one way you do that is you score first.
Drew a pretty good lead over there, not running this time, and that is a swing and a miss, strike 3 to Abreu for the first out on the night.
Well, he chased a high pitch on the hit and run. That didn't work, so Bronson Arroyo goes down, seemingly right down Broadway with that pitch, and Abreu swings right through it.
So now Kelly Johnson having the best season of his major league career. A .293 batter with 20 home runs, 60 runs batted in, closing in on 40 doubles. And when Arroyo pitched out at Chase Field earlier this season, Kelly Johnson went 2 for 3, a home run, a double, and a walk. Strike 1. Cardinals will be playing later on tonight, and a little less than an hour from now, hosting their longtime rival, the Cubbies. Opening up a series there. The last 3 times those 2 teams have met, the last 3 series, the Cubs have won all 3 of them. Baseball's a funny game, isn't it, Chris? I mean, the Reds have dominated the Cubs about as much as you can dominate another team. And the Reds have struggled so mightily against the Cardinals, and then the Cubs have owned St. Louis.
Crazy game of baseball.
It really is.
Now Now, the Reds have also dominated the D-backs. They're 3-0 against them this year. They're 8-1 over the last 2 years. And you go back 3 years against the Diamondbacks, and the Reds have won 12 and only lost 3. So it's a ball club. The Reds, you know, when you're looking to try to get that magic number down lower and lower, come on into town, D-backs.
Kirk Gibson still has that label interim manager since taking over for A.J. Hinch. Here's a fly ball down the left field line. Gomes tracking it. And that's out number 2, following the leadoff hit from Stephen Drew. And really not a lot of stories coming out, not a lot of rumors, not a lot of that taking place in regard to the Arizona manager's job. Frequently hear rumors about who will replace Bobby Cox, who will take over for Mike Quade, if anybody does take over for Mike Quade, since he replaced the retired Lou Piniella. Talk about Joe Girardi in the final year of his contract with the Yankees. And a lot of folks around the Diamondbacks think that Gibson should have interim removed from his title. Strike 1 to Justin Upton. I know you had a chance to spend a little time with Kirk Gibson when you were out there in the desert a couple of weeks ago.
Well, right now he's not even thinking about what's going on with him next year. He's thinking about this year, trying to be patient, trying to teach these young guys he has on the ball club a little bit about winning baseball.
Breaking ball off the outside corner, 1-1 to Upton.
And the Diamondbacks will play some pennant contenders. They go from here to Pittsburgh, so no big matchup there. But they will eventually play 3 more games against the San Francisco Giants. So they'll have a say in what goes on there in the West.
Boy, and outside the National League Central Division, which was so close, in fact, Major League record-setting close as far as the spread for the consecutive number of days. Remember, the Reds and the Cardinals were separated by 3 games or less for over 100 days, a Major League record, before all of a sudden the Reds created what ballooned eventually into an 8-game lead, now down to 6. The other 2 divisions, along with a wild card, virtually a dead heat. You start with the National League West, where the Giants beat San Diego 2 out of 3 over the weekend. So a tie there. Colorado's ripped off 10 wins in a row to pull within a game and a half. In the National League East, Atlanta's 1 behind Philly. And the wild card race, flip a coin. And that's all for Justin Upton. A couple of strikeouts for Arroyo. He allows a hit, and the Reds are coming up. Presented by Cincinnati Bell. Brandon Phillips will lead it off. Orlando Cabrera at short. Joey Votto at first. Scott Rowland in the cleanup spot with Johnny Gomes in left. And Jay Bruce, for the first time in 2 weeks, is back in the lineup in right field. Drew Stubbs in center with Ryan Hannigan catching Bronson Arroyo. Young man on the mound knows how to win games, Chris Welsh. Barry Enright making his 14th start for Arizona.
Well, he's a former number 2 draft pick by the Diamondbacks in 2007. They plucked him right out of Double-A this year to get him to the major leagues just after the month of June ended. And he's got modest stuff. By no means an overpowering fastball pitcher. Just averages about 89 and 90 miles an hour with the fastball. But he's got good command. He's got 4 pitches: fastball, slider, curve, changeup. This guy can swing the bat a little bit. He is one of only 2 right-handers that Gibson has in the lineup tonight. Coming off maybe the worst start of his career. That was the last one he had against the San Francisco Giants. 6 innings, gave up 9 hits and 6 runs. But before that, this young man's availed himself pretty well as a 24-year-old in this league.
Throws a lot of strikes, we understand. Strike 1 to Brandon Phillips. Enright pitched collegiately at Pepperdine, went 35-8. In his minor league career was 12 games over 500. And now 6-3 at the big league level. So ever since he started his collegiate career, he has won 67 games while losing only 29. Give me a handful of those guys and we're in business. Two and one on Brandon Phillips. 279 batters, 16 home runs, 52 runs batted in. And Phillips ahead in the count at 3-1.
Looks like he just gets it and goes. He's not really caring much about setting the pitches up. We haven't seen too many of his off-speed pitches yet. He just kind of looks in there and he fires up an 88-mile-an-hour fastball and says, "Hey, Brandon Phillips, here it is."
Enright looking in, getting a sign from Miguel Montero, and the 3-2 is high, ball 4, and there's a walk to begin the Reds' first inning. Take a look at Arizona defensively, presented by Ford. Parra, Church, and Upton in left, center, and right. Corner infield of Abreu for Mark Reynolds tonight. Brandon Allen, the youngster, over at first. A middle infield of Drew and Johnson. Enright and Montero, the battery. Orlando Cabrera, 263, 3 home runs, 39 batted in, 4 double shy of 30 of those on the year. Ball 1 up and in. So all we heard about Enright was how he has pretty good command, something he did not have his last start that Chris just talked about against the Giants.
Well, he had command as far as throwing the ball over the plate, but he did not have command as far as throwing good strikes in the strike zone. Hasn't walked the batter before tonight in his last 2 starts.
Phillips, 15 stolen bases, had been thrown out 11 times. Held on over there by Brandon Allen. A 1-0 count to Cabrera, and he bounces one down to third. There's one, and no on the double play attempt. So 1 out in the inning, 1 on, and Joey Votto coming up.
Now, we showed you before the ball game some of the guys that have been injured, and Orlando Cabrera is one of them. He has a heel injury that he was icing down last night after the ball game, and he didn't let that bother him. That would have been an easy double play had he not been busting it down that hard. Not a great swing he put on it, but avoids from rolling into a DP lane double play.
Joey Votto. 320 batter, 33 home runs, 102 runs batted in for Votto. Big swing and a miss. Votto ranked second in the league in RBIs, third in hitting, and third in home runs. Votto does lead the league in on-base percentage and RBI per at-bat ratio. A little more than every 4 at-bats this season, Joey Votto has knocked in a run, including that dramatic game winner on Saturday night.
Oh, what a thrilling night that was. Had a big crowd here at Great American Ballpark, 36,000 plus. First pitch he saw, bam, opposite field, almost to the upper deck.
Oh, 2 to Votto. And Wright taking a lot of time out there on the mound. Finally okays a sign. A look at Cabrera. And that one fought off out of play to keep it at 0-2 to Joey.
Yeah, not sure if it's going to be a ball or a strike. We've seen Joey do that so many times. Keep his at bat alive.
That one shot into left field, a base hit by Votto. Looked like an 0-2 off-speed pitch of some kind, and Votto just sat on it and drilled it into left field, sending Cabrera on to second base.
Well, you know, he's so committed in going the other way, so you give him a breaking ball right there. And the pitch before, if you remember what it was an inside fastball that he barely got his bat on. But that time, much more prepared for it. An off-speed pitch, as you said, Tom, a little overhand curveball that he just puts a nice stroke on and gets himself a base knock.
Now 2 on for Scotty Rowland at 294, 19 home runs, 79 runs batted in. Cabrera the runner at second, Votto at first. Scoreless game in the bottom of the first inning, and that's strike 1 to Rowland. Rowland on Friday and Saturday each night had a couple of base hits. A double on Friday, 2 doubles on Saturday, and knocked in a run in that series. Had the day off here yesterday. There's a Tapper foul, and again in right ahead of another Reds batter at no balls and 2 strikes. Chris, you talked about it before the ball game ever got started. You get to this point in the year, and for guys who play regularly, everyday players, I mean, they're nicked up everywhere. And well, the last thing you want is what Rowland just did. You foul another ball off your ankle.
It may have already been a spot that's sore to begin with.
Reds made a couple of roster moves earlier today, in case you didn't hear about it. They acquired Willie Bloomquist from the Kansas City Royals for a player to be named later, along with some money. And Jared Burton was brought back up from AAA Louisville, where he has come back to have an outstanding year. Burton looked like he was going to be a very good pitcher on the major league club for a long, long time, and then fell on hard times a year and a half ago. He's trying to work his way back up, and he's up here tonight. In the air, right field will back up Upton. A very strong arm Upton has in right field, but he'll throw into second base as Cabrera tags up, and there are 2 outs in the inning.
Well, you know, if you break down the pitches of this young pitcher, Barry Enright, you find out that he throws a lot of fastballs. He does have a slider, curve, and changeup, but he hasn't used those effectively at all here in the first inning. All of his outs have gotten off that fastball. None of them have been any faster than 88 miles an hour. So you'd think that would be a good matchup right here for Johnny Gomes.
See if they throw him a first pitch fastball. Nope, first pitch breaking ball. Johnny was 77 runs batted in. And a chance to add to that number right here with runners on the corners. And 2 outs in the bottom of the first inning. And right a look over at Votto at first, and now the 1-0, another breaking ball, and again it stays high. He just has no feel for anything at all except for the fastball. And Montero out to visit with him.
It really creates somewhat of a conundrum for a catcher to have a pitcher that early on in the ball game, he may not know coming out of the bullpen whether the young man had a good breaking ball or not. It could be he had a great breaking ball down in the bullpen. He gets out on the game mound and he can't find it. He's got to figure out a way to get an out right here. Doesn't want to have a bases loaded situation with a left-handed hitter and Jay Bruce coming up.
Two 2-0 on Johnny, looking for the heat. Got a fastball that came up empty. Well, Enright makes you nervous just watching him out there on the mound. I mean, he is moving all over the place. Now that he's on the rubber, he'll quiet down a little bit, but getting to that point makes you feel like you had a bucket full of caffeine. There's a pop-up behind the plate.
He's a little fidgety, isn't he?
Real fidgety. I mean, he's moving his hands and his legs and his head. Constant motion. Tugging at the unit.
Actually, he kind of reminds me of the guy in the batter's box. He's the pitcher's version of Johnny Gomes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I lost count.
No, you were right there. 11.
Could have been an even dozen. I think he had a little one at the very end.
You can mark it down. He knows how many there is. Let's take a look again. Let's see if we can count them. Go ahead, Chris.
That doesn't count. That's just situated on his head. It's only with his 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Only 9 that time. Odd number. Maybe there's some 3. Oh, dropped 3 more.
I'm telling you, you can mark it down.
Dozen.
He knows how many there are. Runner going on a check swing. Did he go around? No. And give Joey Votto the stolen base, his 14 in 18 tries. Well, now a hit might mean 2. And for those of you at home, you might want to mix in a little decaf. Watching these two guys.
It's like a Pez dispenser.
Oh, a hanging breaking ball, and Gomes pops it up. Back to the screen, Montero, where he'll run out of room.
He's had a couple of pitches in this at bat, a 2-0 fastball, and this breaking ball right here. Well, that is a classic hanging curveball. Middle in, just about at the letters, and he just gets under it just a hair. Great shot with our Foxbow.
Seventh pitch of this at bat coming up, and Gomes trying to pay it off with a base hit and give the Reds a first inning lead. That one hammered to straightaway center field. Racing back is Church, and at the track he'll get it to end the inning. So the Reds strand a pair. They get a base hit And at the end of one, we're scoreless. Ohio. Chris, how about this?
Well, Joey Votto, 16 opposite field home runs, and that was the game winner we saw the other night. The opposite field home runs leads in major leagues, and I had a conversation with Joey when we were in Colorado asking him at what point in his career did he really become so committed to hitting the ball the other way. He said when he was a kid. It was preached to him all along when he was a youth player up in Canada outside of Toronto, and it has paid off big dividends for the Reds this year.
Bronson Arroyo allowed a base hit to Stephen Drew to lead off the game, then retired 3 in a row with a couple of strikeouts. They'll face 5, 6, and 7 in the Arizona batting order: Montero, Church, and Allen. Montero at 281, 8 home runs, 40 batted in. This guy had a shared time early in the year with Chris Snyder before he was dealt to the Pittsburgh Pirates. And they have long felt that Montero would be their everyday catcher for many, many years. He can hit. Big swing there and fouls it back out of play. You don't need to tell Arroyo this guy can swing the bat. Look at those numbers. 4 out of 6, including a home run. Bronson rock solid in his only start against Arizona this year. That was back on August the 17th. He went 7 1/3, allowed 6 hits and 2 runs in a Reds 6-2 win. Well, the Reds really rolled over Arizona out there in that 3-game series to begin that West Coast road trip that everybody was so worried about. You almost forget about it now. Well, you'd have thought the world was coming to an end when the Reds had to get on that plane and go to Arizona, Los Angeles, and San Francisco. And it turned into a 6-3 trip.
Well, getting off to a good start in Arizona was really the most important part of that trip. Because if you got your dauber down and you lost momentum going into some of those other cities like Los Angeles or San Francisco, they could tear you up a little bit. They did have a tough time in Frisco.
Yep. In the air into right center field, Jay Bruce giving chase, and that one will find the first row of the seats. And Montero, with a solo home run, his 9th of the year to give Arizona a 1-0 lead. This guy's got a chance to be a very, very good player for Arizona.
Tell you what, that was a nice, easy swing on an off-speed pitch. He provided all the power himself. Looks like he got a changeup on a 3-2 pitch. That's exactly what it was. And look where it is, down and out of the strike zone. He went down there to golf that baby out of here.
The Diamondbacks may not do a lot of things well, and their record at 57 up and 86 down would certainly back that up. but they can flex their muscles. They have 47 home runs since August the 1st, which is the most in the National League and 4th most in the major leagues, behind only Toronto, the Red Sox, and the Yankees. And they have clubbed the 2nd most home runs in the entire National League. That ball in the air to left field, hit pretty well off the bat of Ryan Church, and the Diamondbacks have gone back-to-back to take a 2-0 lead.
Well, we're going to replay it for you because it looks a lot like what happened last year. Miguel Montero and Danny Herron, the pitcher of the ball club, went back-to-back home runs against Bronson Arroyo last year. Today, it is Montero who's moved up in the order considerably, and Ryan Church going back-to-back. I'm wondering if all these left-handers in this lineup, and Kirk Gibson has loaded them up. There are only 2 right-handed hitters in the lineup tonight against Arroyo. They're really testing this guy a little bit.
Excuse me, roller by Brandon Allen, a bouncer down to third, and Roland will throw him out for the first out here in the Arizona 2nd inning after the home runs by Montero and Church.
You know, all radar guns are a little bit different, Tom, but the last time Arroyo took them out, that was in Denver against the Rockies. He was throwing his fastball 91, sometimes 92 miles an hour. In fact, both Jeff Brantley and I commented that this might be a cakewalk for him because rarely do we see him with that kind of speed on the ball. Well, as it turned out, he couldn't command his fastball. The Rockies jumped all over him, and it was an early day in the showers for Arroyo. Tonight, his fastball really hasn't gone much over 87 miles an hour. In fact, he really almost has to goose it to get it up that high. And he's relying on an awful lot of off-speed pitches, change-ups, and that change-up will be an important pitch in order to get these lefties out. They're sitting and waiting for that curveball.
You know, you look at this Arizona team offensively, and it is really, from a historical perspective, I mean, it is a rare club indeed. The Diamondbacks offense, they rank #1 in the National League in extra base hits. They are dead last in the National League in singles. And here you get a look at a feast or famine inning. 2 home runs and then 2 easy outs. You go all the way back to when divisional play began in 1969. There are only 4 teams that have done what Arizona is in line to do this year. That's lead the league in extra base hits and have the fewest number of singles in a league. That's hard to believe.
So where do strikeouts come into that? Because they're leading everybody in that.
Well, that's part of only getting really the all or nothing, it seems like.
Exactly right. And that's kind of the point I was making right there, that they're a ball club that if you just look at these statistics and try to draw some conclusions, you realize that, hey, they don't care whether there's no strikes or 2 strikes. They're hacking like they're going deep. Results in either a strikeout or an extra base hit.
And of course, they're without 2 of their real big sluggers in their lineup tonight, both right-handed batters. And Chris Young, a National League All-Star this year, and their third baseman, Mark Reynolds.
They have struck out 300 more times than the Cincinnati Reds, and the Reds are about right in the middle of the league.
Well, that's a pile of strikeouts.
And a pile of home runs, too. Arizona leads at 164. The Reds are right in there, too.
Swing and a miss. And the Diamondbacks only need to strike out 59 more times to set the all-time record. But they get 2 homers in the inning and lead by a pair.
had a decision. I had a discussion with Dr. Krimchak and him and myself, and you know, there's a slight chance he could re-injured, but there's a worse chance it's going to get any better before the season is over and into the winter at this point. So, you know, there's certain pitches you probably might feel it on some.
That was long before we knew that Jay Bruce would be back in a lineup tonight rather than tomorrow, and here he is for the first time in 2 weeks. And when he got hurt, Chris, he never had a better 3-week run in his very young major league career.
You know, when Jay Bruce first bounced on the scene as a rookie, he had a great 3-week run. But he was hitting the ball so much harder in the last 3 weeks before he was injured. Home runs, runs batted in, hit 3 home runs in a ball game as a leadoff hitter. At that point, the Reds' offense was really rolling right along.
Jay officially missed 12 games in the starting lineup, and you mentioned earlier how their offense really sputtered without him. The Reds went 5-7 in those games. Oh, and 2 to Jay Bruce. But I would imagine it can't be easy. I mean, it's tough enough to hit major league pitching. But to sit around and really only swing the bat for the last handful of days against batting practice pitching and then go back in there against live pitching after 2-week absence cannot be easy.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. You know, I think under normal circumstances, they may have been tempted to send Jay Bruce down for a day or two of like medical rehab, although never on the disabled list, so he would have been eligible to go down unless they made that move. But after the month of September, most of your minor leagues are all done, so it's not the time that you really have that option.
He hooks this one into right center field. So much for what I just said. Welcome back, Jay Bruce. In his last 19 games and 1 at bat, Jay Bruce has now hit 9 home runs. And that makes it a 2-1 ball game.
Very right, the pitcher got ahead of him 0-2 and then tried to get him out inside, but then decided to throw an off-speed pitch there on a 2-2 count, and Bruce went out there and hooked it to right field, and the ball really jumps off his bat. 2-1 ball game with that swing.
But now the center fielder Drew Stubbs, 16 home runs, and he hits this one hard into right center field. Backing up is Upton. He leaps and watches it go. Bruce and Stubbs go back-to-back to tie the game. And really, Chris, that's been this club all year long. Whether it's early or whether it's late, you fall behind, and they just keep on coming.
Well, back-to-back jacks here at Great American Ballpark. They are dialing 8 in Cincinnati tonight. 2 home runs, both solo shots by the Diamondbacks, and the Reds come right back and answer. That's a good swing by Drew Stubbs. Even inside the ball right there, driving it the other way. A little bit of a breaking ball up in the zone. I'll tell you what, everything that the Reds have hit hard tonight have come off the breaking ball of Barry on right. They've not squared up his fastball yet. Take another look at the swing by Drew Stubbs. Man, that is a roller up there.
Ryan Hannigan at 278. 5 home runs, 36 driven in. 1 ball and 1 strike. So we begin anew. Each team clubbing back-to-back home runs to start their halves of the second inning. Montero and Church for Arizona. Bruce and Stubbs for the Redlegs.
The best part in my mind anyway about those back-to-back jacks is that is your future. You're going to see those guys in a Reds uniform hopefully for a long, long time.
Three and 2 on Hannigan. Lifts one into short left field. Coming on to get it is Parra. Now be out number 1 here in the Reds' second inning. Check-in officially presented by Honda with the National League Central Division standings. We told you the Cardinals will open a series at home in about 20 minutes from now against the Cubs. And the Reds have a 6-game lead. Jeff Samardzija going to run out there as a starter tonight for Chicago against Jaime Garcia. Samardzija, many of you may remember, an outstanding wide receiver in Notre Dame. He decided to play baseball rather than football. And a highly touted pitcher for the Cubs in their organization, but has really never found his groove at the major league level, Chris, after delivering some pretty good minor league numbers. He's gone from starter to the bullpen, starter in spring training, back to the bullpen, and now a starter again.
Aren't they eliminated yet?
You were talking about that before the game tonight.
I think they should be. Maybe the notes I'm reading are wrong. The Reds have, what, 18 games to play?
19, including a night.
All right, the Cubs are down 19. So this is the elimination night for them.
And we hope they're eliminated because the Reds win, not because they lose, right?
Some people call it the magic number. In their case, it would be the tragic number.
2 away in the inning as Arroyo hits one in the air to Ryan Church.
But yes, I want them to lose. I mean, I want the Reds to win, obviously, to earn it. But either way is fine in the long run.
So you're very popular in Chicago. You and I spent a lot of time together in that town. That last weekend we were there.
That's where I warned you about skimboarding, if you recall.
See, I think you actually put the jinx on me. Because you did tell me, you said don't do it. You'll go out there and break your leg. And that's exactly what happened. I had forgotten all about it, but of course you called me to remind me that you said that.
I've always been one of those I told you so's.
You know, I'm well aware of that.
Makes you feel good when it happens. Although in your case it did not. But you're getting along pretty good.
You're all heart.
You've thrown the crutches aside. You got a little walking cast going.
Thank God. Getting better every day. 0-2 on Brandon Phillips. He walked his first time up. And Wright set to throw his 43rd pitch of the night. Reds stranded 2 in the first inning. And on the ground down to third, and that is that. But the Reds answered with back-to-back home runs of their own. Jay Bruce, after missing the last 12 games. And then Stubbs to right center. A 2-2 affair. We move to the third. The Ohio Sports Mix as well, exclusively at foxsportsohio.com, and that's presented by 1-800-SAFE-AUTO and safeauto.com. Hall of Famer standing by a couple of doors down. Very hard at work. Bruce and Stubbs go back-to-back to tie the game at 2. Arizona bats against Bronson Arroyo. Top of the order here in the third. Stephen Drew looks at a strike. The Milwaukee Brewers lead the National League with 164 home runs. Then you have Arizona 1 behind them, and the Reds 2 behind Milwaukee. So not a surprise that we have a couple of long balls from each team so far in the game tonight, and Drew is a perfect 2 for 2.
Now it looks like Stephen Drew was just sitting there waiting for that low, slow curveball, and that's exactly what he ended up getting. Well, he didn't move a muscle, wasn't fooled hardly at all on that delivery by Arroyo.
Drew coming into the series tonight is the hottest hitter in the Arizona lineup. And many have felt that he would be a much better hitter than he has actually been his first couple of years in the major leagues. Well, I'd have bet a lot of money this guy was going to be a 290, 300 hitter with a lot of power. When you first saw him come to the big leagues, the younger brother of J.D. Drew. But for whatever reason, I mean, nothing wrong with his numbers. He's got 52 runs batted in. He's got 30 doubles. And you throw in 10 triples. So, what, 40? You're looking at 52 extra base hits out of your shortstop position. That's not a bad number. Drew with a huge lead over there, and there's a breaking ball near a strike to Tony Abreu. 1 ball and 1 strike. Brought up earlier, Abreu filling in tonight for their regular third baseman, Mark Reynolds. Fastball in on his hands to Abreu, and it's fouled out of play. 1-2.
Abreu's a switch hitter. He is the only switch hitter in the lineup, but overall the Diamondbacks only have 2 true right-handers. Everybody else is left-handed. You can see the split that Bronson Arroyo has against lefties. He holds him to a real low batting average. Those numbers ought to be reversed, ladies and gentlemen.
Straight away center field. Routine fly ball for Stubbs. 1 out. Well, daily we invite you to visit the Reds official online shop at Reds.com. The largest selection of official gear, including the latest apparel and memorabilia. Get your gear straight from the source. Shop the Reds.com official store today. 1 out, 1 on, 2-2 game, and here's Kelly Johnson. He flied out to Johnny Gomes in the opening inning. Johnson had a chance to play regularly for the Atlanta Braves, and you know, much like we were talking about with Stephen Drew, they thought this guy was going to be a very good offensive player. It didn't turn out that way, and the Braves turned him loose. Well, he clearly has found a home in the desert. This guy's having a nice year. Now, they were very excited about him there in 2008. But then really struggled last season. And has turned it on in Arizona his first year with the Diamondbacks. and 1 to Kelly Johnson. Drew over at first with 1 out in the inning. And a fastball is knee high on the outside edge, strike 2. Broken bat roller down to roll, and he bobbles and can't get it out anywhere. Clearly was thinking about cutting that baby loose to Brandon Phillips to, at the minimum, get the force out, if not start a double play. And they don't get anybody anywhere.
Well, it looks like it's going to be an easy DP lane, but he just not able to hold on to it. And then the second time he went down for it, he took his eye off of it and didn't really look at it. You don't see that very often at all in this Reds infield.
So now runners at first and second in a 2-2 game for Justin Upton. He struck out looking his first time up. Strike 1, a fastball right down to Cam. Upton, an all-star a year ago, has had a very disappointing season this year, but much like Jay Bruce, you got to remember just how young these two guys are. Their career totals are virtually identical as far as the home runs are concerned. Bruce with 2 or 3 more probably at this point. But both having a chance to come to the major leagues. Just barely past their 20th birthday. One and 2 on Upton.
Well, Justin was the #1 draft pick for the Diamondbacks in 2005, and boy, that 2005 draft of first-round picks, that was a real good draft. Obviously, Upton among the top ones there. Ryan Zimmerman, Ryan Braun, Mike Pelfrey in that. Andrew McCutchen, we saw him over the weekend. Jay Bruce was taken in the 12th round, or in the 12th pick in the first round. Some heavy hitters in that 05 draft.
Give me number 5 and give me number 7. Here's a swing and a miss.
Well, he gets number 5 right there. Arroyo does. That's 5 punch-outs on the night. On a hanging breaking ball. Man, oh man. If you're Justin Upton, you're thinking you got to hit that ball all the way to New Richmond, even if he doesn't know where it is.
It's a long way down the road to Richmond.
It's a lot cooler in New Richmond right now after that swing.
2 away with 2 on, and here's Montero. And for those of you that don't know where New Richmond is, once you cross over 275 from Kentucky back into Cincinnati, going upriver, the Ohio River. Well, New Richmond is second exit, if I'm not mistaken. At first exit, you have River Downs, you have River Bend, Coney Island. The next exit, New Richmond.
If you draw a line from home plate over Johnny Gomes' head and keep on going, you'll eventually get to it.
Probably right. Montero chasing a high fastball, and Arroyo ahead of him at 0-2. Now Montero got Arroyo for a home run. His only at bat tonight, and has 5 hits and 7 career at bats against him.
Well, he hit a changeup his last time up on a 3-2 count. And Arroyo's been handling him so far in this at bat with high fastballs. Boy, Arroyo's fastball, not a lot of steam on it tonight. You know, he already ranks among the lowest in the league as far as his average speed on his fastball. He averages about 88 miles an hour.
Struck him out. That is 6 strikeouts for the Diamondbacks in the first 3 innings. during weekends in September, and you get a free collectible gift. The first 5,000 full-paying weekend guests this month receive a Pete Rose 4192 commemorative print. And 1 out of every 10 of these prints has been signed by the hit king himself. To learn more, visit redsmuseum.org. 2-2 game. Reds come to bat against Barry Enright. 2, 3, and 4 in the batting order. Cabrera, Votto, Rowland in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Reds stranded 2 in the 1st inning and back-to-back home runs in the 2nd inning. And here we are in the 3rd. Cabrera bounced into a fielder's choice on a ground ball down to Abreu at 3rd, his only at bat tonight. I'd like to send out happy birthday wishes to Bernard Mann from Germantown, Ohio. 90 years young today is Bernard Mann. Served in the Pacific Theater during World War II. Has been an avid Reds fan for over 60 years. Bernard, happy birthday. And we thank you for your service to this great country. There's a liner into left center, run down by Parra, 1 out. One away in the inning for Joey Votto. You know, so much has been made about Votto and his pursuit of the Triple Crown, and certainly it would take an unbelievable finish for Votto to accomplish that rare feat. But not out of the question that he could lead the league in batting average, on base percentage, and slugging percentage. The last player to do that was Joe Mauer in 2009 with Minnesota. But you have to go all the way back to George Brett in 1980 to find anybody who had done that in the American League. Now, the National League, Barry Bonds naturally did it 2 times. Todd Helton did it in the 2000 year. Well, you saw that Colorado team, Chris, front and center in the sweep of the Reds last week. That team is rolling.
Well, they were really believers in themselves. Jim Tracy's got them going. And they look back at the rest of their season saying, boy, if they had gotten off to a better start, or if they hadn't had a couple of really horrible road trips.
High fly ball into left field. Drifting back and watching it go is Parra. And Joey Votto. Home run number 34. So now 17 opposite field home runs this year for Votto. Well, it didn't look like he got much of that.
Here it looks like a routine fly off the bat. And off the most ball players, it would be a routine fly. But when you're strong as Joey Votto and stay behind the ball as much as he does, those routine fly balls end up in the seats. 17 of them now going oppage for Votto on the year. That leads all of Major League Baseball.
With that mighty crack of the bat, Votto has given the Reds their first lead of the night, a 3-2 game. You know, Chris, you and I have talked about this. Many teams that come in from the National League West, when they come to this ballpark after pitching in that division, whether it's, you know, for a couple of months when you're playing against teams only in your own division, or over the course of a number of games, a stretch of games, even a number of seasons. When you come into ballparks like this after pitching in those parks, you got to wonder what in the world's going on.
Well, you know, in those parks, if you get behind a hitter, you can throw a nice four-seam fastball in the outer part of the plate, and a ball hit like this in Petco Park may not even make it to the warning track. But here in Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati, Joey Votto will collect the dinger with it. And it's not only Petco. I mean, the same thing in San Francisco.
A little more hitter friendly in Arizona.
LA's a big ballpark, at least plays fair.
Colorado not nearly the hitter friendly ballpark it used to be.
Unless they pull those balls out of the humidor a couple of hours early, and then it really jump.
3-2 on Roland. And a bouncing ball that will get under the glove of Drew into center field. A base hit by Roland. So Roland, a one-out base runner, his first hit in 2 at-bats.
Oh, they're playing Scott Roland to pull a little bit with Stephen Drew way over there in the hole at shortstop, and I can't figure that out. Maybe they see a different scouting report than what we see every night with Roland. He loves to hit the ball to right field. He's very adept at hitting it through the middle.
In that National League East tonight, the top 2 teams leading their respective games. Philadelphia 4-0 lead in the bottom of the 4th inning in Florida. And Atlanta at home, a 4-0 4th inning lead over Washington. Breaking ball low to Johnny Gomes. Out west, another huge series for San Diego begins tonight. The Padres go to Colorado. Colorado just a game and a half behind the co-leaders in the West, San Diego and the Giants. Giants have an off day today. They'll open a series tomorrow night at home against the Dodgers. One and one to Gomes. One the count on Gomes. Good tight breaking ball right there. That's by far his best curveball or breaking ball of the night. Fly ball to short right field, an easy play for Upton. And rolling back to first base, 2 away. You know, Chris, when you have a 6-game lead, and nothing do you take for granted. Never, ever, ever do you take anything for granted. But maybe more than watching the Cardinals and what they're doing at this point, because let's face it, as we've talked about for a month and a half, if the Reds just go out and win their games, it doesn't make any difference at all.
Correct.
What somebody behind you is doing. But do you start watching now with some of the other teams who are in postseason consideration? You know, do you start looking at who you might want to play? Who would you like to see win the wild card? Are you paying attention at this point as Bruce fouls it away of, you know, where you are in relation to having the best record in the league? Because if you have the best record in the league, obviously, as long as you're in the playoffs, you have home field advantage in a series.
I think that gives the Reds a big-time advantage overall. But, you know, if you look at the teams that are in contention right now, the Reds haven't done well against really any of them yet. I think they probably would match best up against the San Diego Padres. But maybe it's time to start thinking about those matchups. What do you think?
The last time we saw the Atlanta Braves, that was here. The Reds beat them 2 out of 3. They played Atlanta very well. I mean, they went down there to Atlanta and had leads late, including, what, a 6-run lead going into the bottom of the 9th inning when they blew that game at Turner Field. So they played Atlanta well. And in an odd sort of way, even though you're 2-5 against Philly, they have played Philadelphia very well. I know that sounds strange, but you beat them 2 out of 3 here when you played them. When you went there, you got beat 4 straight games. But you lost the first game in 12 innings, 4-3. You lost the next game in 10 innings when you had a 7-run lead in the 9th inning. You lost 9-7 in 10. You got beat 1-0 in 11. And you got beat 1-0 again. So, I mean, it's not like they had their way with you as that ball is fouled off.
I don't like the Philly matchup.
No, I don't think anybody wants to play Philadelphia.
To start you off, and then, by the way, the ultimate Reds killer of all time, Roy Oswalt, who's throwing the ball now as well as he has in several years.
Well, ultimate Roy Reds killer until the last 2 years.
And they've refortified their lineup a little bit by getting some guys healthy again. Chase Utley was not playing when the Reds went through there before the All-Star break. Neither was their catcher. Bye-bye.
Jay Bruce has come back to the lineup and homered his first 2 at-bats after missing the last 12 games.
Man, oh man, I don't think anybody, including Jay Bruce, thought in his wildest dreams that he would come back after missing 12 games and swing the bat the way he has tonight.
Bruce now 20 home runs on the year, 61 batted in. He has 10 home runs in his last less than 3 weeks worth of games.
Ball up and out over the plate, and he hooks that ball into right field. That ball is heading straight towards the Tundra sign. In fact, had the direction down perfect, just came up a little bit short.
And there's a base hit into left field by Stubbs. Well, the Reds are going to town on young Mr. Berrien right here tonight.
I've been waiting for somebody to hit that Tundra sign. You see it up there. It's about the closest we've come in a while. They had the giveaway over the weekend. Dusty Baker spun the wheel. As it turned out, it went to a fire department from Florence, Kentucky.
Nice.
But there's another one. If one of these Reds players hits one, they got plenty of those where they came from.
Of course, Joey Votto last year hit one between the tall stacks out there. Raised his arms in the air like he had kicked a field goal. Now Ryan Hannigan, 4 hits in the inning. A 1-out home run by Votto to break the 2-2 tie. A single by Rowland. An out later, a 2-run home run by Jay Bruce. And now a single by Stubbs. Arizona has action in its bullpen for the first time tonight. Leo Rosales, a right-hander, begins to throw. Stubbs with blazing speed, 24 stolen bases, has only been thrown out 4 times. Fastball right down the middle, 0-2 to Hannigan. Breaking ball off the outside corner, 1-2 to Hannigan. Reds fell behind 2-0 in the second inning on back-to-back home runs by Montero and Church. Reds get back-to-back home runs by Bruce and Stubbs to tie it in the bottom of the inning. A solo home run by Votto, a 2-run home run by Bruce to take a 3-run lead. They pitch out, Stubbs going, throw to second base, and he's out.
Perfect execution by the Diamondbacks there.
But the Reds flexing their muscles. Votto to break the tie. Bruce 2 for 2 with 2 long ones and a 3-run lead. Kentucky Toyota dealers, where you can register to win a Tundra at Great American Ballpark. By JTM, Food Family Fun, JTM. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. And by GMC, we are professional grade. First of 4 against the Arizona Diamondbacks on a beautiful night for baseball in downtown Cincinnati. And the Reds with a 5-2 lead as we begin the 4th inning. Reds will see right-hander Daniel Hudson, who's thrown the ball very well for the Diamondbacks since coming over from Chicago. In the game tomorrow night, he'll be locked up with Travis Wood. Homer Bailey coming off an outstanding game over the weekend against left-hander Joe Saunders on Wednesday night. That one is fouled back out of play by Ryan Church, who homered his first time up. And then the finale of the series, it'll be Volquez against Rodrigo Lopez. John, just give him a shove and get him out of the way, and you can take over again. What does that shot look like? That's what I want to know. It's not bad. I mean, not right where you want it, but not bad.
Yeah, I mean, hey, Gapper tries hard.
Giving you a full look up and down the Reds dugout. Zooming in a little bit there, trying to get a little tighter. That one lined into center. It'll fall in a base hit for Ryan Church.
Knowing Gapper, probably looking for Rosie Red about now.
With any sense about him whatsoever. Brandon Allen coming to the plate. Our AT&T trivia question tonight. Who had the most hits and doubles in the decade of the 1990s? Give you a little while to think about that one. Ball 1 to Brandon Allen. Allen's been getting a lot of time in the outfield, getting a chance to play a little first base here tonight. Played in 32 games with Arizona last season, hit barely over 200. playing exclusively at first base. They sent him to the Arizona Fall League, did not play well there. And now playing in his 21st game since being brought back up from the minor leagues. 2-1. Of course, Chris, I know you remember what it was like pitching in that Pacific Coast League. This guy was putting up monster numbers in that league. Were you ever there?
I was only there for a short period of time when the Yankees had a team in Tacoma. I was up there for the PCL playoffs.
I always forget because you pitched in San Diego at the major league level.
Yeah, I went right from the Yankees to the Padres. But that's not an easy place to pitch. Back in the day, a lot of those ballparks were hitters' parks. I think still a lot of them are. This young man, Brandon Allen, originally property of the Chicago White Sox. They drafted him out of Conroe, Texas. He had committed to the University of Houston to play football. Big guy, 6'2", 235. But he decided to sign a contract with the White Sox. Ended up being traded to the Diamondbacks in exchange for Tony Pena.
Breaking ball in on Allen, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Popped up into short right. Brandon Phillips will give way to Jay Bruce, who calls him off for out number 1. And we thank Gapper for giving it back up to John and let John get back to doing it the right way. But a round of applause from John for Gapper. Maybe now he'll just go try to find Rosie Red in person. What do you think?
That's a real good bet.
One out, one on for Parra, who struck out his first time up. Ryan Church over at first base. It's 2-0 to Parra, who takes a swing and fouls it back out of play. Have a pinch hitter standing in the on-deck circle, Cole Gillespie. We told you that Leo Rosales was up throwing in the Arizona bullpen. And it certainly appears as though the night is a short night for starter Barry Enright. We'll wait officially, but so far 3 innings, 7 hits, and 5 earned runs, including 3 home runs. 4 of them, I beg your pardon. Soft liner into center field, a base hit. So that's 6 hits now for Arizona against Bronson Arroyo.
Remarkably, that 3 of those hits, 4 of those hits have been singles. A team that doesn't hit too many singles right there, but Parra gets an off-speed pitch, another changeup that Bronson Arroyo gets up a little bit and gives the Diamondbacks just enough chance to put that ball in play.
Enright did not strike out a single batter in the game. He walked 1. And now Brian Price, the Reds pitching coach, going to come out and visit with Arroyo. 73 pitches into 3 innings tonight by Barry Enright.
Well, you know what Bronson Arroyo said after his game last time, that was in Colorado where he got whacked around pretty good by the Rockies, that he really had no command at all. And that's usually his way of saying he didn't have good stuff. His fastball was very good. Tonight, it looks like a little bit more of a different type of battle for Arroyo. Not great stuff. He doesn't have a real good curveball going. Doesn't look like his arm speed is there. So he's going to really have to locate, although he's got 6 punch-outs. Not surprising, really, against the Diamondbacks, though, considering.
Here's Cole Gillespie batting 4 and right, and he looks at a strike. Well, we brought it up earlier. This Arizona team, the clock is ticking. To shatter, I don't mean just break, but to shatter the all-time team record for most strikeouts in a single season, breaking ball away. That belongs to the 2001 Milwaukee Brewers, who struck out 1,399 times in a year. Arizona 57 away from reaching that number.
Piece of cake.
I mean, they'll do that almost with ease in the next 8 or 9 days. They struck out 38 times in 3 games in Colorado in a series just completed yesterday. Take a look at that. The Diamondbacks have struck out 110 more times than they have base hits. And Chris, you know, because you saw a lot of teams with the Reds who were striking out a lot. It is hard to watch. 3-1 breaking ball hit off the end of the bat, foul.
You know, Tom, it's almost like you're not trying, even though you are. Of course, a lot of it has to do with the philosophy of the hitting coach and the philosophy of the organization up and down. I mean, do you adjust with 2 strikes? You shorten up and go to right? Or do you just continue to hack?
3-2 pitch, and it's in the air, left center field. Stubbs will chase it down. Getting back to tag is Church. He'll stay put. And they're 2 away in the inning. So now Stephen Drew, a perfect 2 for 2 in the game, will bat with 2 on and 2 out, with Arizona trailing Arroyo and the Reds by 3 here in the 4th. FYI, you look at the 1976 Cincinnati Reds. They led the major leagues in strikeouts that year. 902 on the year.
Wow. A cool 400 behind what the Arizona Diamondbacks have done right now.
The Reds of this year have struck out already a little over about 150 more times than that Reds team did in 162 games of 76. Of course, different game now. Oh, and 1 account on Stephen Drew, and there's a bouncing ball down to first, so a nice job by Arroyo. With 2 on and 1 out, he takes care of the pinch hitter Gillespie, and the leadoff hitter Drew. After 3.5, the Reds lead by 3. Stay connected through Reds blogs or even write your own. You can follow Reds like Mike Leake, Sam LeCure, Matt Maloney, Corky Miller on Twitter. Log on to Reds.com/connect to get started today. Told you Barry Enright's night is over. 3 innings, 7 hits, no strikeouts, a walk, and 5 earned runs. And now taking over is Leo Rosales. Well, if there is one area, and there are obviously more than one, but one area that really put the Diamondbacks in a major hole right from the start of this year, it was their bullpen. They had an ERA of up over 7, 8, 9 for the first couple of months of this season. Into right center field, and it's caught in front of the wall. Nice play made out there by Ryan Church on a ball hit very hard by Ryan Hannigan.
Boy, Ryan Church went after that ball like he didn't realize the wall was coming up on him, or him coming up on the wall. And there's a little bit of a pad there. That's about a 3 or 4 inch thick pad, but behind that pad is either metal or concrete. I think in that case it's probably cast iron, and it does not give one bit. It'll shake you up a little bit.
Bronson Arroyo looks at a strike. Diamondbacks bullpen has been a lot better over the last month and a half. I mean, that bullpen ERA third week of May was almost 8. And really, you talk to most players and they'll tell you that if you're going to lose a game, it is far more difficult to have a lead in a game late and then get beat late by the opponent than it would be if they came out and scored 4, 5, 6, 7 runs early in the game, jumped on you, and then just coasted the rest of the way to win. It just takes a heart right out of a club.
I agree with you 100%. What about our trivia question tonight?
Who had the most hits and doubles in the decade of the 1990s? He is sitting next door tonight as a broadcaster for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Our old buddy, the ever so quiet one.
Yeah.
Mark Grace. Is he a piece of work?
He's a piece of work, all right. Great to visit with him before the ball game. Now, 1,754 hits, that's not all that surprising for Mark Grace because the guy can flat out hit. But I'm really surprised by the double stat, that he also led them all in doubles as well.
When you think about all the great offensive players, and let's face it, in the steroids era, which Mark Grace never had anything to do with in any form or fashion, you think about all the players in the 1990s, all the records that were broken. Look at some of these names. There's the hits. And the irony of all ironies of those first 2 names, and we'll come back to them in a minute, is the Cubs had to make a decision on which player they wanted to keep, Rafael Palmeiro or Mark Grace. They both came up with the Cubs at the same time. We'll talk more about that when we come back. Reds lead by 3. games. He has 2 at-bats tonight, and he has 2 home runs, giving him 10 home runs in the last 20 games in which he has played. Man, did the Reds miss him while he was gone. Told you they went 5-7 in those games. And outside of the series in Colorado, the Reds got not good. They got great pitching in the 2 series in front of that one and in the just completed series against the Pirates. They didn't need to score a pile of runs to win. Abreu sharply to the shortstop, Cabrera. And that's the way we begin the 5th inning with the Reds in front by 3. Kelly Johnson is flied out to left and reached on an error by Scott Rowland. Off the end of the bat into right field. Jay will run it down for out number 2.
Bronson looking for the first 1-2-3 inning of the night.
And could use not only a perfect inning, but a low pitch inning. Generally, for Arroyo, pitch count is not a big deal.
Well, he pitches to contact. He usually doesn't have a lot of strikeouts. Tonight, he had 6 strikeouts through the first 3 innings. Did not strike out a batter last inning. And he really is the kind of pitcher that he would rather you hit his pitch rather than swing and miss his pitch.
One and one on Justin Upton, who has struck out twice in the game. One ball and 2 strikes.
Well, you take a look at that hack he had right there. His head is up, his shoulder is flying wide open, and he's trying to golf that ball out of there. But I mean, the whole concept of actually keeping your head on the ball. May explain the strikeouts.
Two and 2 on Upton. Struck him out again. A 9-pitch inning for Arroyo and a 3-run lead.
To left or center field during tonight's game. Michael Christensen of Independence, Kentucky will win a beautiful new Tundra on display here at Great American Ballpark. There it is. Register for your chance to win at an upcoming game by seeing your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers.
2, 3, and 4 in the Reds batting order. Cabrera, Votto, and Roland. That's a trio that started things when the Reds broke a 2-2 tie, scoring 3 in the third inning. Cabrera hit a ball hard, but right at the left fielder, and this one is banged into deep left field, and it is out of here. Orlando Cabrera. Still a little ginger on that heel that he injured a couple of days ago. But it's home run number 4 for Cabrera, and number 5 on the night for the Reds.
Well, yeah, we've said so many times that Orlando Cabrera is just such an excellent high ball hitter. You can't get it a whole lot higher than that. In fact, that ball is out of the strike zone, up and in. Leo Rosales is wondering how the heck did he even put the bat on that ball.
Now Votto lifts a fly ball before the smoke can clear, and Parra at the warning track makes a catch for the first out of the inning.
Look where the pitch is for Orlando Cabrera. Up and out of the strike zone right there. But he comes up to the plate with such a flat bat on his setup that he's ready for that high pitch. Some hitters are like the ball down low. They hold the bat high and almost straight perpendicular to the ground when they set up. But Cabrera is one of those guys that kind of more like a Pete Rose setup, holding it flat behind the back, getting ready for the high pitch.
The Reds as a team began the night with the 3rd most home runs in the National League. They were 4 behind the Milwaukee Brewers, the league leader. And with the 5 home runs, the Reds now again lead the National League in long ones, which they have most of the year. They also lead the National League in hitting, runs scored, hits, total bases, RBIs, slugging percentage, batting with runners in scoring position, batting with runners in scoring position, and 2 men out. (3-0) on Roland. In there, a strike. Three and 2. And a 1-out walk to Roland. Scotty on base for the 2nd time in 3 plate appearances, and the inning continues for Johnny Gomes. NBA basketball is coming to Cincinnati on Tuesday, October the 19th. The Cleveland Cavaliers will take on Ohio State All-American Evan Turner and the Philadelphia 76ers right next door at U.S. Bank Arena. Tickets are on sale right now at the U.S. Bank Arena box office or at Ticketmaster.com. Evan Turner, what a fabulous collegiate career he had in his 3 years at Ohio State. But now on to the NBA. So I'm standing on the sidelines that game on TV the other night when the Buckeyes were beating up Miami of Florida.
Bucks look good, didn't they?
And how about your South Florida Bulls? I thought for a little while there they were going to pull off a stunner over the weekend. I mean, they were really putting it to the Florida Gators there for the first half of that game.
Well, unfortunately, they had to play the second half.
Well, they made 3 turnovers
and
21 quick points by the Gators.
Gators are beatable this year.
What's that old adage where if you're going to get them, you better get them early? They've had the same quarterback down there for a long time. He's not there anymore. Cubbies have jumped on the Cardinals, a 2-0 lead for Chicago. As Gomes pops one up in a shallow right field. That's where Justin Upton plays, and it's out number 2.
Well, Jay Bruce, a couple of home runs on the night, but what have the Reds done without him while he was out with that injury? a side injury that he sustained. The 12 games, the Reds offense obviously dropped down. They average only 4.1 runs a game. Tonight they've got 6 on the board. Previous, the 131, they've averaged 5. And I'm not saying that Jay Bruce is the only cog in this lineup that makes the thing go, but boy, oh boy, when you take a guy out, a left-handed hitter that was hitting the way he was in a couple of weeks previous to him getting injured, you do lose something big time.
Jay, a perfect 2 for 2, a pair of home runs tonight, his first game back in over 2 full weeks, 12 games of play. One and one.
Well, he's so much more patient. You know, maybe it's the second half of this year. Maybe it's getting more than a year away from his injury, where he broke his wrist last year sliding and diving for a ball in New York. But there were times when Jay Bruce goes into a slump, and remember that he's still a very young player, that he looks agitated at the plate. He looks frustrated, out of kilter, jumping at the ball. He just looks so much more relaxed right now, and did so right before his injury as well. More relaxed and quieter with his head. That's the big thing. You keep your head still, you see the ball better.
Chris, you brought up that point before Bruce even got hot about the injury last year, and I think you bring up a great point, as he's gone on strikes to end the inning. But a home run by Cabrera, the 5th of the night for Cincinnati against Arizona pitching, and it is a 4-run Reds lead as we go to the 6th.
Question of the night, and Tom and Chris were touching on this earlier, but when is the right time to check out your playoff opponents or possible postseason opponents? Now, when the magic number's in single digits, or only when they officially clinch? Text 1, 2, 3, or 4 to 3766. I'm sorry, 1, 2, or 3 to 37664. Standard text message rates apply. While the results coming up. You boys debated this a little bit earlier. Let's let the fans debate it. Tom?
Looking forward to hearing what the fans say. Of course, yesterday and today marked the CBTS Marty Brennaman Golf Classic. Numbers coming in. You know, a lot of this has to do, I believe anyway, and many of you out there could verify, a lot of this has to do with superstition.
You mean your postseason opponent?
No, what I mean is people's reaction to this question, their answer to this question.
Don't talk about it until it's sealed.
There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people that don't want to jinx even thinking about it. So clinch doesn't surprise me. I am a little surprised it's first. but I wouldn't be surprised at all if it was second. But maybe there are a lot more superstitious folks out there than maybe they would even admit.
Well, if you're making plans for postseason, though, for instance, buying tickets, bringing people in from out of town, you can't wait sometimes until they click.
Oh, I agree with you 100% there.
So you got to plan sometime.
Yes.
And you just have, maybe it's the optimist in me saying, hey, for me, this ball club's going to the postseason. Make your plans and begin to start watching who you might end up playing against.
I hear you.
Now, you can wish all you want, but of course, it's all going to be determined by the numbers, the wins and losses.
And as you always say, and I always come back to it, it was so profound when you said it the first time about you don't play the games on paper. There's strike three.
I'm glad it had such a positive impact on you.
You know, we make light of it. I mean, we're having a little fun with it. But, you know, it is so true. It's so cliche.
Yep.
And it's so coach speak or manager speak or player speak or whatever, general manager speak. But, man, it is so true.
You know, I thought the little saying that Orlando Cabrera wrote on the blackboard the other day in the Reds clubhouse, whiteboard really, it's a big whiteboard as you walk into the clubhouse, and normally there are notices on there as to, you know, when the bus leaves. Don't forget to bring your bats out yourself the first game of a homestand.
If they have a youngster coming down for a charity visit to the clubhouse, that kind of thing.
It's a bulletin board type of thing. Well, Orlando Cabrera went in there. It was an empty board one day, and he wrote down a quote from him. He said, "Win when you can, not when you have to." And he signed a little OC at the bottom. But those are the kind of sayings that, you know, they're so tried. You hear them so much in sports, in baseball, but they are so true when you really boil it on down.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put that one right there with it. You play the game on the field, and you win when you can.
You and I have talked about it many, many times. Scott Rowland certainly deserves and gets a lot of the credit for helping to teach so many of these young Reds how to play the game, how to go about it professionally, what winning baseball is all about. But I don't think Orlando Cabrera gets nearly the enough credit for the exact same things and what he has meant to this team since coming over very late during the offseason. He is just an outstanding player, great in the clubhouse, a winner.
I mean, here's a guy that, while he was on the disabled list, he dressed up in the Bat Boys uniform, and he started taking the balls out to the umpire, unbeknownst to anybody on the other team. A couple of guys are saying, that guy looks like Orlando Cabrera over there. I wonder if that's his brother. Just to kind of cut up a little bit, to have some fun, to bring some levity to the dugout. And you got to have fun. And the teams that win usually have a lot of fun. Because this time of year, when you're already eliminated from the playoffs, and you're looking for a reason to get out there and really get after it, it's a whole lot easier when you're playing for the Reds right now, looking for that magic number to decrease, than when you're playing for the Diamondbacks and you're on your own salary drive.
And Lord knows, you know, in your 17 years, 18 years now as a Reds broadcaster, you've been in this spot like the Diamondbacks are in right now. You and I have been there together the last 4 years. It's tough.
Oh, it's such a difference.
One out two on Brandon Allen. And that one tomahawked into right field, a base hit. And Brandon Allen will pull in with a 2-out double. His first hit in 3 at-bats. Arroyo up over 100 pitches on the night.
When you talk about a tomahawk, you know, it looked like Ryan Hannigan wanted that ball inside. He kind of got it inside, but he got it up high. And Allen shows a very quick bat and lines it down the right field line.
Well, the inning continues for the number 8 hitter, Gerardo Parra. It's easy for me to say. Parra struck out and singled into center field. Told you about Arroyo, now 104 pitches in the game. Piled him up early. Much more efficient the last 2 innings. His spot is due up 4th in the bottom of the 6th inning. And with all that in mind, the Reds have action in their bullpen. Left-hander Bill Bray begins to throw.
Well, maybe a little walk to the mound right here to make sure that Bill Bray gets some time to warm up. This is a lineup that when Bill Bray and Aroldis Chapman, Arthur Rose looked at it, they got to figure that some of those left-handers are going to be in against the Diamondbacks in this series. Because Kirk Gibson has loaded them up in this lineup tonight. Left-handers, that is. And that's one reason why Bray is getting it loose right now. There's only one left-handed pinch hitter available to Kirk Gibson, and that's Adam LaRoche. Left-handed hitting first baseman who's got the night off tonight. He has used every other lefty available to him in the lineup tonight.
So now Parra, a check swing and a miss. Well, that's the kind of swing right there. You know, you just won on a 2-0 count. We talk about it all the time. On a 2-0 count or a 3-1 count. I mean, Kirk Gibson's got to be down in that dugout sometimes just grinding his teeth, wondering about the thought process of so many of these young players. When you're 2-0 and 3-1, man, you better be spinning on something and hitting it hard, even if it's foul. There's a broken bat roller down the Votto, and that'll end the inning. So a shaky start for Arroyo, but he finishes them off more than likely 6 innings of 2-run baseball. It's time for the Coors Light freeze can. Pitches up in a strike zone. Jay Bruce, home run to right center field. Talked about Orlando Cabrera on a pitch up from Leo Rosales with a home run in the 5th inning. And that was the Coors Light freeze can, brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light.
Hello, new pitcher for Kirk Gibson to be Carlos Rosa, right-hander, coming in for the 17th game. 3rd pitcher of the night used by the Diamondbacks. Barry Enright started, got walloped around pretty good. Leo Rosales pitched the last couple of innings, giving up only that home run to Orlando Cabrera. Now it's time for Carlos Rosa.
Rosa brought up from AAA Reno on September the 1st when the roster's expanded. And he'll face the latter third in the batting order. Stubbs, Hannigan, and more than likely a pinch hitter for Bronson Arroyo. This guy was having a great year in AAA. He's already been up once with a major league club this season and got knocked around in 13 1/3 innings. He allowed 10 earned runs in 15 games overall.
Best fastball the Reds have seen tonight in Rosa. Rosa originally signed by the Kansas City Royals and traded over this year on May the 1st in exchange for a shortstop named Ray Navarro.
Line drive caught by Kelly Johnson for out number 1.
Hey, Reds fans, if you're looking for food service solutions that deliver results, well, think JTM Food Group.
You know, that was a lot like the breaking ball he used to throw. Not the hanger. I mean, that was the hammer. Very nicely done.
You're waiting for family and fun.
I was.
Yep.
When did that change? Tonight?
Over the weekend.
Man. I thought we had a new sponsor there for a minute.
I had you spinning and whiffing on that one.
You did. Palin and Whalen. That one served into right field. That's just good hitting right there by Ryan Hannigan. So a pinch hitter going to be sent up there to be the young slugger Juan Francisco to bat for Bronson Arroyo. Arroyo looked a little shaky at the start of the night, allowed the back-to-back home runs in the second inning. Allowed a couple of base runners in the third, a couple of more in the fourth, but when all is said and done, I mean, that's a pretty good line. 7 hits, 2 runs without a walk and 8 punch-outs.
Well, you know, the last 3 games for Arroyo, if you look at it and boil all the numbers together, it looks like he's been pretty bad because of the numbers that he gave up against the Colorado Rockies his last time out. 7 runs in just 4 innings, but you know, of his last 4 starts, including tonight, 3 of them have been quality starts. Even though overall his numbers, his earned run average has gone up quite a bit, he still delivers the Reds a very dependable starter every 5th day. And if it holds the way it does right now with the Reds leading 6-2, he'll end up matching his all-time career wins in 15.
Which he's done each of the last 2 years with the Reds. We talked about before the night started. He has the lowest batting average against versus the number 3, 4, and 5 hitters among all pitchers in Major League Baseball. And tonight, the 3, 4, 5 hitters in the Arizona lineup, they combined 1 for 9. In the air to right center field will be caught by Church for out number 2. Now Brandon Phillips 0 for 2 in the game, walked in the first inning and looks at a fastball strike from Rosa. Congratulations go out to you today, Mr. Welsh.
And to you.
Again, winners of the CBTS Marty Brenneman Golf Classic today out at Belterra Casino. and Spa. The bouncer down to third. And your winning team, along with Eddie Shepard, Ralph Landrum, Jim Volpenheim, and Steve Kirby. Champions again, young man.
Thank you very much. If we didn't win, there should have been an investigation.
That's exactly right. This 3G network, AT&T Rethink Possible. Buy your Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky Honda dealers. Visit mycincinnatihondadealer.com. Buy Wendy's. You know when it's real. And by Hollywood Casino. More action, more excitement. Get to Hollywood Casino, Lawrenceburg. One final thought as Jordan Smith takes over on the mound for the Reds. Cincinnati in the opener of this 4-game series with a 4-run lead. Smith has had a very, very good rookie year after being brought up from AA Carolina. Chris, among your group today, winners of the CBTS Marty Brennaman Classic, I understand that you were voted the team MVP by Captain Ed Shepard.
Well, you know, I'm going to defer that honor back to the captain because he was so inspirational to see a guy like Ed Shepard to get up and take nourishment and actually get up that early in the morning for a guy who's not used to getting up at the crack of dawn by any means.
He doesn't have many reasons to.
Well, that doesn't have a day job.
No.
So I'm going to give the MVP trophy back to him just for inspiring us.
It's very, very nice.
From hole to hole. Because it was a team effort.
Job
and
well
I know
done.
that you've got to feel good because your dad's group won yesterday. And then in a head-to-head match between your group and your father's group, you won today. So you've got bragging rights in the Brennaman household.
For those of you wondering what he's talking about, I did not play. I just happened to be the quote-unquote owner of the team. That's it. And I'm very proud of all of you for going out and playing well, playing fairly, I might add. Oftentimes when you win a tournament, you're accused of winning in underhanded fashion. That's not the case.
Well,
we're all on the up and up.
We got together and we decided last night after the dinner that we were going to try to give you just the best birthday present you could get. As a team owner, happy birthday.
Well, it wasn't the best one I could get. My kids took me out on a picnic today with my wife. But that's the second best, so thank you.
Best we could do anyway.
I appreciate it. All of you.
Hey,
thanks to everybody, seriously, for getting out there, and those of you that participated in the 2-day golf classic, raising so much money for the Reds Community Fund. All the money goes to the Reds Community Fund. So thank you very much, and I know I speak on behalf of my dad as well, and he'll be back in the booth tomorrow night.
Well, hope he brings our trophies.
For someone else that golfed in the golf outing, gentlemen, if you are the owner of that team, you know how there's the evil empire in baseball?
Yes.
I would consider that the evil empire of charity golf with all those ringers and us regular folks just playing regular golf. Just thought I'd throw that in there.
I can put my head on the pillow at night.
Well, just like George Steinbrenner, I guess, you know, Tom, someday that team's going to be free agents. You're going to have to cough up a little bit of green to keep them together.
Evil empire.
Leadoff walk, and now Jordan Smith has fallen behind Stephen Drew, 2-0 coming out of the Reds bullpen. It was not a good weekend for the Reds bullpen. They got sensational, not good, not great. They got sensational starting pitching over the weekend. Homer Bailey, Edinson Volquez, and Johnny Cueto. But the bullpen allowed nearly all 3 of those games to get away. The Reds were able to rally and win on Friday, win again on Saturday in extra inning games. And then had the 1-0 lead, which Francisco Cordero could not nail down, giving up 3 runs in the 9th inning yesterday of a 2-run defeat. Cordero, stand-up guy. Apparently after the game was over, there's another walk. So back-to-back walks, and Dusty Baker says that's it. 8 balls, 1 strike from Jordan Smith. And he will be taken out of the game without recording a single out. So be our skyline call to the bullpen. Bill Bray comes on. Arizona trailing by 4 with 2 on and nobody out.
Home plate umpire John Hirschbeck on the way out, arguing balls and strikes, and eventually Hirschbeck says, go ahead and take a seat, go take a shower. And he said the magic word, and that was it. So Jordan Smith in his young major league career has reached 1 milestone tonight, being ejected from the ball game. And I'll tell you what, he's got a lot to learn. Because as a young rookie, you're going to argue balls and strikes after walking the first 2 batters you face, and then argue with the umpire on your way out after your manager takes you out of the game. You got a lot to learn, young man, and hope you do it fast because you got a lot of talent. Bill Bray, 30 games for this left-hander, and he comes in now in a rather tight situation. A couple on, nobody out.
And the heart of the order coming up. Abreu turns around to bat right hand. Will be followed by Johnson and then Upton, and there's a strike, and the crowd will facetiously cheer. Straight away center field. Stubbs going back, getting into position to throw it. And and he will prevent either runner from tagging up. Throw is offline, but Stubbs has a very strong arm and got into a good position to cut it loose once he was able to get there to haul it in.
Well, the Diamondbacks are 4 runs down. Maybe Augie Ojeda, who is a veteran, decided not even to test the arm right here in case that he didn't want to make another out at third base.
Now left-handed batting Kelly Johnson 0 for 3 tonight. Reached on an error by Scott Rowland back in the third inning. Reds leading by 4. We're in the top of the 7th inning. Arizona with 2 on and 1 out. Another rookie right-hander loosening in the Reds bullpen, Sam LeCure. You have right-handed batting Justin Upton due up next. Bray ahead of Johnson. Kelly 0 for 2 in his career against Bill Bray. Has struck out and popped up. Bray now trying to make it 0 for 3. Just off the outside edge. My, oh my. Slow roller down to Rowland. He'll get the out at second. They will not double up Johnson at first, so they're on the corners with 2 away in the inning. Price will spring forth from the dugout to have a visit with Bill Bray about how they want to attack the right-handed batting Justin Upton, who has struck out 3 times in the game.
Well, he's the one right-hander in this lineup that really didn't match up very well at all against Bronson Arroyo. Arroyo struck out 8 in his 6 innings, only allowed a couple of runs, but 3 of them were this young man, Upton. A little difference, though, when Upton's up there facing a left-hander. Upton's a dangerous hitter. 17 home runs, 68 knocked in. Batting in the cleanup role, and Brian Price has given Bill Bray a chance to face him, yes, but also given him a lecture on how to go about his business right there, which probably includes being very aggressive. Go right after him.
So Dusty going to have Bray stay in there and face Upton. First pitch fastball is up and away. Took a little off and caught the outside corner to even the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. Lazy pop fly into short right field will end the inning. Well done by Bill Bray. With 2 on and none out. Retires 3 in a row. Middle of the 7th, the Reds lead 6-2. Miami once again, and more times than not, every time he takes them out. Bronson Arroyo, 6 innings of 2-run baseball, didn't walk anybody. And fanned 8, and he's in line to get win number 15, which Chris mentioned earlier. Would match his career high in a single season, which he will have done 3 consecutive years if he gets a win here tonight.
He just kind of continued where the starting pitching started up on this homestand. I mean, they dominated the Pittsburgh Pirates, the 3 starters that Dusty ran out there, and Bronson Arroyo, after a couple of back-to-back home runs in the 2nd inning, really buckled down and pitched himself a nice game.
On a night where, as you pointed out earlier, he clearly had less in his best stuff, and I'm sure he'll say the same thing after the game. The Cubs, meanwhile, in the 4th inning, lead St. Louis 4-0. Excellent work turned in by Bill Bray in relief of Jordan Smith. Down the left field line into the corner. This will be another extra base hit for Orlando Cabrera. A home run and a double in each of his last 2 times up.
You know, if I'm pitching against Orlando Cabrera, the first thing I'm doing, I'm making sure the ball is down, and that is not down. When you're 4 inches above the knees, that's a pitch that's very, very hittable. And I'm trying to keep that ball down and away. I make him hit the ball the other way because he can spin on that ball in the inner part of this plate, especially when it's up above thigh high.
Now Votto 2 out of 3, a single, a stolen base, a solo home run to break a 2-2 tie in the 3rd. And then flying out to the warning track in left field in the 5th. Reds have seen plenty of DJ Carrasco, acquired back on July the 31st from the Pirates. I believe that was in the Chris Snyder deal. Big swing and a miss by Votto.
Thought he had a pitch and is angry at himself for missing it.
Votto up to 322 with a 2-hit night. Jammed with that pitch in a shallow left field. And Parra comes in to get it for the first out of the inning, and Cabrera back to second base. Well, this coming Thursday, take a break from the office, enjoy lunch with the Reds during our next Pay for Business Day game. Get a $20 price for seats in our all-you-can-eat section thanks to the Business Courier. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS or visit reds.com. Night game tomorrow, night game Wednesday, day game against Arizona to round off the series in the homestand. Then it's on to Houston and Milwaukee. And there will be 1 homestand left after that in the regular season. And that'll be the final week of the season. Actually, the Reds going to Houston, Milwaukee, and then San Diego before returning home to play the Astros 3 in the final 3 games of the year. The first 3 days of October against Milwaukee. Ground ball to second, 2 away in the inning, and Cabrera on to third. It's a long road trip for you, Mr. Welsh. That'll be 10 days long back in your old stomping ground from years ago.
Not all those 10 days, and if you're going to map it out geographically, the Reds really don't do it the right way. They go west to Houston, then they come back east to go to Milwaukee, and then go way out to the West Coast. But this time of year, you're looking for some wins, and you're also looking to play against that Padre team. Haven't seen them since early in the year. Be interesting to see them again, and the way that race in the West is tight, you got to figure that those games will be very, very important. Hopefully not to the Reds. Hopefully that they'll be on the verge of clinching or have already clinched by then.
San Diego, by the way, in another critical series starting on the road in Colorado, and the Padres have jumped out to a 2-0 lead. That game in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Colorado just a game and a half behind the co-leaders in the West, the Padres and the Giants. If you weren't with us earlier, the Giants are off tonight. They'll play the Dodgers in a 3-game series starting tomorrow. Johnny Gomes behind in the count at 1 ball and 2 strikes. Atlanta's already won its game. Philadelphia leads by 10 runs in Florida in the 8th inning. So that'll stay where they were before play began tonight. That means Philadelphia will maintain a 1-game lead over Atlanta in the National League East. Check swing. He didn't go around, and that's ball 4 to Johnny Gomes, and Jay Bruce will get another at bat. Who do you like, Chris, in that NL West race for the final 3 weeks of this season? As we're going to have a pitching change. So, Chris, I'm going to let you ponder that question.
I'll tell you when we come back.
Boy, you know, you talk about the tease. That's what it's all about, baby. Going to his bullpen and bringing on the left-hander Jordan Norberto. All right, Chris. National League West.
So there you see it. Right now, the Padres and the Giants are tied. Rockies are right there at 1.5. They've won 10 in a row based on schedule and based on what I saw out of these ball clubs. And I can tell you my recollection of the Padres not nearly as clear as what the Giants are. But I'm going with the Giants.
All right.
The Giants at home against the Brewers after they finish up. Well, they're playing and starting tonight. And then they go to Chicago, go to Colorado for 3, but they finish at home with 6 games in a row against the Diamondbacks and then the Padres. And they don't play well on the road in that division, but they play pretty well at home at that division, and that's the reason that I will give them the nod.
All right. We'll file that away. Norberto to face Jay Bruce, who has homered twice, knocked in 3, and a broken bat base hit into right field will knock in another run. A 3-hit, 4 RBI game in his first game in over 2 weeks. And that makes it 7-2 Reds.
Well, the pitch up, and Bruce gets it out on the end of the bat. But he got that bat through the zone quick enough that he was able to loft it and over the infield for a base hit. You can break a bat 2 ways, one in on the handle, one out of the end of the bat. And he is left with a nub and an RBI. Have a night, Jay Bruce.
Norberto started the year in the Diamondbacks bullpen. He pitched a total of 6 games, 3 innings. Walked 6 batters into 3 games, 3 innings. And was sent back down with an ERA up over 9. But a young guy. You know, we've seen it before. 1 year you bring them up. They can't get anybody out. Maybe a year later, a little more experience, they come back and they look like an entirely different guy. It can go the other way as well. Found out a play by Drew Stubbs. And that one down to right field line. It is a foul ball, not by much. 0-2 to Drew Stubbs. We're in the bottom of the 7th inning. Runners all in the corners. The Reds with a 5-run lead. It'll stay 0-2 to Drew as he fouls it off out of play. Reds trying to win their 82nd game of the year and get back to 20 games over the 500 mark. There's a swing and a miss to end the inning. But the Reds get a 2-out run scoring hit by Jay Bruce and extend their lead to 5.
Before the Reds-Brewers match it up to enjoy the band Tropicoso in the fan zone. Plus, check out the dancers and the parade of flags on the field before the game. And for information and tickets to that ball game, 513-765-7600 or go to Reds.com/Hispanic Heritage. Entiende?
Of course, you and I have already done. What night was that? Was that Irish night?
Irish night.
Irish American Heritage Night.
We had German Appreciation Day over the weekend.
Did you do any German dancing up in the booth with George?
We did the chicken dance, but actually nice. I think it was Paul that day. But
okay. But you and I,
the camera didn't catch us.
Were dancing. For some reason, it was replayed over and over and over again on a sports show. When we were doing that, if I'm not mistaken, like back in May, right?
Yeah. Well, we saw Dusty in the dugout. It was Irish Appreciation Night, or Heritage Night.
Right.
And he did the river dance down there. We decided to get into the fun.
That's right. Swing and a miss. He's saying he fouled the ball off, and the umpire saying not a chance. And that is a strikeout. He's asking for the appeal is Miguel Montero.
He'd be a good attorney.
You can't be that good of an actor. He must very much believe that he fouled that ball off.
It looks like an appeal is coming.
He didn't touch that ball. That's a swing and a miss. Same score we gave you a little while ago there in the bottom of the 5th inning, and so far so good for Jeff Samardzija. Getting a start tonight for the Cubbies against Jaime Garcia. Ryan Roberts waits in the was in the on-deck circle, and now he'll step up there and bat for Ryan Church. And there's strike. Ryan Roberts, this was a guy I think we saw last year. He's got tattoos all over him. I mean, all over his neck. He is from Hurst, Texas, and then attended the University of Texas at Arlington. Yeah, there you see it.
What do you think about that?
Well, I don't know young Mr. Roberts.
I mean, you
and
brought it up.
He's a very nice, pleasant young man. But I just I don't get the whole tattoo thing. And there are probably a lot of youngsters out there that are saying, Brenneman, you're an old guy and you don't get it. And you know what? Maybe they're right. But I just don't get it. But that's me. What about you?
Doesn't really bother me.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me either.
I think you're going to see more and more of them.
Well, I know one thing.
I've seen some pretty nice tattoos. I mean, real body art. And some other ones that you probably like to erase if it didn't hurt so much in the process.
I know one thing. I wouldn't walk into a job interview with those things all over me.
What if the guy interviewing you had some?
That's a legitimate point. There aren't a lot of those guys around right now. There might be in about another 20 years from now. And people can say, well, that's being, short-sighted and biased and everything else. That is the real world. But
if he hits well enough, he won't have to go.
I was going to say, you don't have to worry about that. That's exactly right. Rusty Ryle now batting. That one swung on and fouled back out of play. But if that's what he likes, and so be it.
Yeah.
That's 11 strikeouts. 10 of them, I beg your pardon, in the game now by Reds pitching. 8 of them by Arroyo, and it's back-to-back strikeouts here in the 8th inning for Bill Bray. Fastball just off the inside corner.
Yeah, the only problem I see with the tattoos is that if you get them when you're really young, and as you get older, they're not always in the same place when you're older than when you got them when you were young.
Legitimate point. The Diamondbacks tonight are playing in their 143rd game. Tonight is the 62nd time in 143 games in which they have struck out 10 or more times in a game. 2-2 on Rusty Ryle.
Would almost turn the air conditioning off down there in Chase Field. The way they create a breeze with those swings and misses. You don't need it.
Certainly will keep Jerry DiPoto, their interim general manager, up at night trying to figure out, okay, what do we do next? The Reds have obviously gone through some lean years up until this season, and now they look like, good Lord willing, you're healthy enough for the future to be built for the future, and a very bright future. Arizona started as a franchise in 1998 and had unrivaled success in a very short amount of time. They also produced a lot of their own players, and very, very good players, primarily guys that turned out to be very good players for other teams. Most recently, we just saw Carlos Gonzalez. He came up in the Arizona system. As they started to trade away a lot of those players.
Early on, didn't they spend a lot of money on veterans?
They did.
They pretty much knew what they were going to give them.
But they were stockpiling a very good system behind it as that ball's fouled away. And they were using a lot of those players sometimes to bring in another veteran guy to put you over the top. Brad Penny, for example, to get Matt Manti, and there are other examples out there.
Still paying a lot of those players too, probably.
But man, oh man, oh man, as you're looking now what to do, they've unloaded some of the higher price players from this year's team already. Dan Herron, Edwin Jackson, among others. Try and get some young players, primarily young pitching, back into the organization. And hoping they can get things turned around. Eleventh pitch in this at bat, Bray against Ryle, and there'll be a 12th pitch in the at bat.
A lot of foul balls and a lot of foul balls back to the same section. Just off to the first base side of home plate, back behind the dish of everybody up there looking for a souvenir.
Same section again. Nice play made by a fellow. Right there. Nicely done. Same section nearly again. And another nice play. That's right next to where the fella just caught it in the same little area. And the young man caught it this time. How about that? In the air down the right field line. 14 pitches so far in this at bat, Bray against Ryle.
Oh, Ryle's being a little more democratic now in the way he's spreading out the foul balls.
That might be the first time that word has been used in that way on Reds baseball.
Well, he's hit 4 or 5 behind home plate. He hit one down the right field line, now down the left field line.
All right, what do? You're on the mound right now. This is the 15th pitch in the at bat. What are you going to throw?
I keep pumping him strikes. I throw him low fastballs.
Struck him out to put him away as Bray fans the side in the 8th inning. play of the game. Turned in by Ryan Church before banging into the wall on a drive into right center field. Off the bat of Ryan Hannigan. Everything else has pretty much gone the way of the Redlegs tonight. 7 runs, 11 hits, 6 men left. Arizona 2 runs, 7 hits, no errors, 8 left. Changes in left, center, and first base for the Diamondbacks. Ryan Roberts stays in the game to play left, pushing Gerardo Parra into center field. And Rusty Ryle, after the lengthy at bat, will stay in to play first base. And now on the mound, hard throwing young right-hander Juan Gutierrez. First pitch, fly ball to Upton, 1 away. A lot of potential for Gutierrez, who looked very good last year and has really struggled this year.
Well, he's got a straight fastball. And what he's finding out at this level, that eventually when they get the book on you, if you don't spot that fastball up, it can be as straight as a string, but you need, the more you throw it straight, the more you need to be able to throw it exactly where you want to.
Now the highly touted youngster Yonder Alonso comes up to pinch hit for Bill Bray, who turns in 2 perfect innings out of the bullpen with 3 strikeouts. Alonso brought up when the rosters expanded on the 1st of this month. Made his major league debut that night and got his first hit on the 5th at St. Louis. A pinch hit double off Mike McDougal. Pitch taken outside.
Hey, what? He's looked good at the plate.
This guy's a good looking hitter.
He's given some real good at bats.
Saw him a lot in spring training. 1 ball and 2 strikes. But the question will be asked over and over and over again is, where will Yonder Alonso get a chance to help the major league team on a daily basis in terms of a position?
Well, you know,
the best player on a team, and maybe the best player in the league, happens to play first base for the Reds organization.
Now, that's a fair question, Tom, and it was a question that was asked right after the draft was announced. And the Reds responded by saying, we just took the player in that draft that we thought was the closest to being a major league hitter at our slot, and that was Yonder Alonso.
Oh,
jeez.
Come on. Mark Berry having something to say down there.
Maybe hard to tell from this angle whether he did or not, and he may have gone. Wally Bell down there at third base has this angle, and I can see why he rung him up right there.
So now Brandon Phillips, and he lines one off the glove of his second baseman Kelly Johnson into right center field. That'll be a base hit for Brandon, his first in 4 at bats tonight.
Broke a little slump with that base hit, did Brandon. He was 0 for 15 before that knock.
Well, we're in the bottom of the 8th inning with 1 on and 2 men out. The Reds with a 7-2 lead. We thank you for being with us here on Fox Sports Ohio alongside Chris Welsh, Jeff Pecoro, Jim Day, I'm Tom Brenneman, and our entire Fox Sports Ohio crew. Well, the Reds broke a 2-2 tie on a Joey Votto home run. In the 3rd inning, Jay Bruce has homered twice, has knocked in 4 runs in his first game back after missing the last 12 games. Cardinals are losing at home to Chicago 4-0 in the 6th inning. Reds trying to go up 7 in the Central with 18 games to go after tonight. Nice play down at 3rd, and the inning is over. So Arizona will bat in the 9th with the Reds in front 7-2.
Broadcasting with the most comprehensive highlights, exclusive interviews with the players and Dusty Baker before anyone else. So that's Reds Live, brought to you by Kings Honda in the Kings Auto Mall. Visit KingsHondaUSA.com and join us for Reds Live.
Well, the Reds try to put the finishing touches on this opening game of the series and try to go to 3-1 on the homestand, and they'll bring on, out of Shiner, Texas, the right-handed rookie Logan Ondrusek.
Boy, nice job by Bill Bray in a couple of innings that he pitched. Came in the 7th with a couple of runners on and got out of that jam, and then struck out the side in the 8th. And now the 6'8" right-hander will take over. 52 games now for Logan.
Parra looks at a strike. 2-1 to Parra. Will be followed by a pinch hitter. It's Conrad Schmidt in the on-deck circle, and then a shortstop, Stephen Drew. Phillips, what a play by Brandon, and the throw is just late. Parra runs very well. Phillips far to his left.
You know, this is the kind of player that Brandon Phillips is. His team is winning by 5 runs. You're in the 9th inning. He doesn't have to make that play, but he lays himself out for it, dives, and nearly gets him. And if Parra wasn't such a speedster, he would have him at first base. What an effort.
So now the major league debut of Conrad Schmidt. Right-handed batter, looks at ball 1 low and away. Brought up from Double-A Mobile today. Hit .315 for the Bay Bears. 11 home runs, 65 runs batted in at 30 doubles. A team just eliminated from the playoffs, the Mobile Bay Bears. And Schmidt rewarded with a trip to the major leagues. Congratulations to him. Three and 0. Pitch walk by Logan Ondrusek. So the first 2 on here in the top of the 9th inning, with the Reds leading by 5. And what does Brian Price say to Logan Ondrusek besides throw the ball over the plate?
He's going to tell him exactly probably what Dusty Baker told him to tell him, which is, you know, we really don't want to get the bullpen up right here. So you've got a 5-run lead. Let's go ahead and challenge some batters. Got an infield hit to Parra to get the inning going, but we don't want any more balls out of the strike zone here. Go with your good stuff and pound the bottom of the zone, young man. That's why you're up here.
You ever been around a guy who has a better temperament to be a pitching coach than Brian Price? And you've been around a lot of them.
Yeah.
A lot of good ones.
You know what? And the good ones have great communication skills, and they know which pitchers to push and which guys to stroke. And he's a good one. There is no question about it. I think he's made a big difference this year.
Of course, he used to be the pitching coach for the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Yeah.
That's when he was working alongside Bob Melvin. It's hard to believe Bob Melvin is now 3 managers ago for the Arizona Diamondbacks. after taking that team to the National League Championship Series in 2007. He was fired early on last year. They brought in A.J. Hinch out of the front office with no managerial experience. None. No coaching experience. They made him the manager. And a little more than a year later, Hinch was dismissed. And Kirk Gibson, who was on the staff, was named the interim manager, and that's where we stand here in mid-September. Josh Burns also let go by the primary owner, Ken Kendrick, and the team president, Derek Hall, when they also decided to relieve A.J. Hinch of his duty. Pulled foul, 1-2 on Stephen Cruz. And if I'm not mistaken, the Diamondbacks are still paying all three managers, if you include Kirk Gibson. Bob Melvin. This was supposed to be the final year of his deal. A.J. Hinch, who has 3 years left after this year. And Kirk Gibson, swinging a miss by Drew. One away here in the ninth.
Boy, great run on that fastball by Logan Ondrusek. You know, when he gets on top of it from a 6'8" platform, he's really throwing downhill, but it's also got nice run away from a left-hander. Nasty.
Now Tony Abreu. Strike one. Reds leading 7-2 here in the ninth. Arizona with 2 on and 1 out. Fastball outside to even it up on Abreu. Arthur Rhodes is up throwing in the Reds bullpen. Fly ball left field. Backing up on it, Johnny Gomes. And Arizona down to its final out of the night. Kelly Johnson looks at a fastball, strike one. Johnson hitless in the game, reached on a Scott Rowland error back in the third inning, and is behind 0-2. Two on Johnson, a long look in. And still looking in on Ondrusek. Now the 0-2. Off the end of the bat, out of play, will do it again. Just off the outside corner, and it's 2-2. Reds a strike away and out away from giving Bronson Arroyo's 15th win and going to 20 over 500. And for the first time since 2019, the 2000 season, it would end a 9-year run of less than 500 records for the Cincinnati Reds. Would be their 82nd win of the year. And that's that. So congratulations to the Reds. And hey, when you haven't been over 500 for 9 years in a row, congratulations are in order.
Well, you're not kidding about that. It's been a long climb for Reds fans, frustrated by bad seasons, by meltdowns in the second half, but not from this ball club. They win from there. They win and beat Arizona 7-5. They got very strong pitching from Bronson Arroyo, but they were dialing 8 here in Cincinnati, going long ball tonight. We're going to talk about that on our postgame show.
Can't wait for that. Reds are 7-2 winners.